made it another week.
Yeah. I was going to say we're here and we're some word that begins with Q because it's Pride Month, but I don't want to get us canceled in the first minute, so.
You basically already did.
I didn't say it. Doesn't count.
Jesus. You better crop that out.
Hey, it's not that serious. Anywho, welcome back, guys. Getting ready for the weekend, which means you're competing.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah. It's 3 days away.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Are you excited?
I'm nervous.
Yeah. What are you nervous about?
I'm nervous. I'm antsy. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm scared. I'm thinking of every adjective possible. What'd you ask? You say, what am I nervous about?
Yeah.
I think just all of it in general. I mean, I just don't know what to expect. I'm really new to the industry. Like, I've never even been to a bodybuilding show, so I think it's more so just like I don't like going into things not prepared or not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good for me to not know what to expect. I think a little like ignorance is bliss kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that kind of is an advantage for me because I just like I don't have any expectations. I don't want like to expect something and then be disappointed or vice versa, you know? Like I don't want to underestimate something and then it'd be like way more like I just don't want to like be surprised by anything. So I think just going into it with zero expectations is kind of like the best thing for me right now. But for me it's just so it's new. I don't like being new at things. I don't like being not good at things, so I'm scared that I'm not going to be good. It's so far out of my element that like I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, I think it's really fun for me. I like everything about bodybuilding is, like, stuff that I enjoy. But the idea of, like, me putting myself out there is very unlike me, which is weird because I, like, create content and, like, it's very much, like, centered around me. Mm-hmm. But in just, like, a completely different aspect, I think.
Well, it's so creating content. It's put out there into the public and everybody sees it, but you're not necessarily creating content and doing that in front of an audience. Creating content, you do shoot the content in the gym in front of people, but when it comes to editing and the posting part, you do that here.
Yeah.
Whereas a show, you're on stage in a bikini, in heels.
It's like all of my like
crowd.
Yeah, that terrifies me. And I've competed in sports and all the things. I've done a powerlifting meet, so that might be a little different, but like this is the only thing that I've ever done that's like just me, like individual. Mm-hmm. I never did individual sports. I did all team sports. I mean, I did track, but everything that I did in track was like I pretty much only ran like relays, so like it still came down to like the team effort, right?
Yep.
Which I mean, like when I was running, like yes, people are watching you, but it's so much different. Like this is something that truly is like it comes down to people watching you and only you, and like you said, I think just me like, posing in front of a ton of people in heels and a bikini is just like. I think people who watch my Instagram, like, probably wouldn't think it's, like, super far out of my element, but, like, it is. So I don't know. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
Well, you grew up a tomboy, so doing something that's kind of based around beauty.
Right. Which is, like...
presentation.
I'm in the beauty industry now, right? So it's, like, it shouldn't seem that... But, I don't know. It just is so weird because I'm, like, such a... bro, but like I like to be a girl at the same time, but this is just like it's just to a whole different level. So I don't know, but I'm excited. I think putting myself out there and like just like doing the damn thing is I don't know, it's good. It's good to step outside of my comfort zone and challenge myself a little bit. And, yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. So here we are.
You're doing the damn thing.
You're doing.
Basically, I've been dieting for a year.
Literally a year. To stupid extremes that I probably didn't need to be doing. Yeah, I started with my coach a year ago. I've literally eaten the same exact foods for a year straight. No cheat meals. Besides the 2 times in my prep that I slept 8. But that's besides the point.
Yeah. Sleep eating peanut butter, maybe?
Almond butter. Not peanut butter, almond butter. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to like look back and think that in a year, like it all like comes down to what I'm about to do in 3 days. Like it went so fast but so slow all at the same time. Like it's just crazy. But when I started a year ago working with my coach, like we didn't even like have any idea of a show or anything. We didn't want to set a date or like come up with any plans until we really got my body back to like a good baseline after having a kid. That was kind of our main priority, was like body recomp and just like getting myself back into a routine, because the entire time I was pregnant I didn't step foot in the gym, which is like absolutely asinine to think about, because before I got pregnant I was like, I'm gonna be that pregnant person to work out every single day, and I was like the complete opposite pregnant person that I like thought I was gonna be or wanted to be. But that's besides the point. Didn't lift or work out. Gained like almost 80 pounds. Just like actually crazy. So when I started working with my coach, it was really just about like getting my body back to a good baseline. Like I said, recomping and getting on a routine and working out and building a little bit more strength, because like all of that was kind of non-existent. So we wanted to kind of get all that down before even like trying to come up with a show, and yeah, we did that.
Yeah, shows this weekend. And I think it's important to touch on, like, in bodybuilding, especially somebody who they're competing for the first time, you spend so much time prepping, and you realize, some people don't realize it until after the show's over, but you're only up there for a very short amount of time, so you spend all this time for 3 minutes on stage. And some people after that, they quit, like they're done. And the people who keep competing, I think they keep that in the back of their mind whenever they're prepping again. So when you're looking at prepping for a year or 4 months, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, it's kind of like looking at a vacation, or like when you're in school looking at summer break, like you're waiting for this thing to come and it seems so far away, but in a blink of an eye you're there. And you're 3 days out from the show and you know that you're going to be up there for 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes in total, prejudging finals. You're doing 2 divisions. So how do you feel about spending all this time going into a show for that short amount of time?
You know, honestly, I think that's what makes it so enjoyable for me and so cool for me, because, I mean, a lot of people, their prep is like 20 weeks, right? And I think, like, I would say my, like, hardcore, like, prep was around probably like 20-ish weeks, if not like a little bit longer. But for me, this process has been so much longer because of my circumstance of just like being postpartum and like where I was at physically. But the time on stage, honestly, it's not about that to me. it's a very little time on stage, but for me it's like so much more than that. It's not really about the stage time at all. Like, yes, I think it's gonna be fun. I think I'm gonna enjoy like being able to show or showcase like what I've worked so hard on doing. And again, like, I'm a competitive person, and just like getting back into like the competition, like athlete mindset, like I think is going to be really fun for me, because I love like that kind of environment and atmosphere. But I think with my prep being as long as it was, like working, like to say that I worked for this moment for a year is like what makes it so cool for me. Because like in that year, and it wasn't just like a year, like it was one of the craziest years of my life. And to say that I mean, bodybuilding in general is something that not a lot of people say that they can say that they did or don't quit on. Like, a lot of people will say that they want to do a show and like they'll start and quit, and everybody has excuses and all the things. And I guess for me, what makes it so cool is that like I didn't do that. I set my mind to it, and regardless of like all of the craziness that happened around me and within my life, and like all of the variables and moving pieces, that we made it happen in for the 3 minutes on stage. Like, so for me, that's what it's all about, is like pushing through that to make it happen. I think it's very similar to like 75 hard, right? Like 75, when I did like the 75 hard challenge or whatever, it was like there was so much going on, and like that, I mean, there was nothing to show for that, right? Like, there's no stage time. It's just like you're truly just pushing yourself because you enjoy the push and you enjoy the challenge. So for me, it's never really about like showcasing it. It's about just like finding a challenge and holding myself accountable, and really just like seeing what I can accomplish. I really like pushing myself mentally and physically, and like really anyway. But I think in bodybuilding, it just like turns out that there's stage time involved at the end of it. But for me, it truly isn't what it's all about. I think it's just so much fun to always have something to strive for and having goals to chase. But like I said, like I think I'm gonna love show day. I think it's gonna be very great. I'm gonna probably be like living on a high the entire day. I think it'll be super fun, but it's like the smallest part to me of like what bodybuilding has been or become to me.
So do you think bodybuilding is a sport?
Yeah.
You think it's a competitive sport?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I mean, so like your perspective now, like you haven't been on stage yet, you haven't got to experience show day. Like, do you think from what you've gone through so far that bodybuilding can be considered a competitive sport?
I think it is a competitive sport based on like the game day mentality, right? Like, but I think it's more so like just chasing that lifestyle. It's a mindset, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I ask because anybody who doesn't follow bodybuilding or doesn't know anything about bodybuilding, they see people on stage and they're just flexing next to the next person. Or if you're in bikini, like doing your poses. But when you're on stage and you're being compared to everybody else, the judges will put you through it. Like, they'll hold you in poses for an extended amount of time just to see who is conditioned to, you know, not shake and sweat, and who can hold their poses the longest. So I think in that aspect there is a competitive side, and it can be super competitive when you're standing on stage and like you're trying your hardest to keep your stomach in and keep everything flexed the entire time. So I think speaking to the people who don't follow the sport, who don't know anything about it, who think that it's just like a fashion show, I think they kind of miss that point, and they probably never tried to flex for an extended amount of time, every muscle in the body, because that's extremely hard.
Yeah, and I think for me, that was like probably one of the most humbling things about the sport is the posing aspect of things, because granted, I knew that like I was going to have a lot to learn from a posing standpoint, because like, again, just out here, like one of the bros, like I knew that posing was like going to be a challenge for me. But in terms of like the conditioning aspect of it, that's not what I thought I was going to like be challenged with. I thought it was more so just like looking like a girl, like, and making it like flow really well. But I was very humbled by the posing side of bodybuilding, and that's because like when you watch bodybuilding, you watch people who have done it for a long time, people who do it really well, and obviously like that make it look effortless. So that's probably why people think that, is because it truly does look effortless, because what you see of bodybuilding is the effortless side of it and not the like what it takes to make it look that way. So yeah, I think that is probably why a lot of people, and again, it just comes down to like lack of knowledge in the sport, because again, like we live in Iowa where not a lot of people bodybuild, so it's not like a frequent topic of conversation. And I didn't really understand it until I got in with people who were bodybuilding and who were competing. So I think it all like comes down to just truly not understanding the sport. But I do like kind of when people ask about it, because as you know, like as bodybuilders, like especially somewhere where it's not prevalent, like people have opinions on it, right? And I think for that reason, because they just don't know enough about it. But I think the more that people are educated on it, the more their opinions start to shift on the sport, because even people that I know personally in my life had very like negative perspectives on it, rightfully so, because like even I didn't get into bodybuilding until recently because of like negative things that I had heard or thought about the sport.
Yeah, it's people usually, when they're introduced to the sport, a majority have a negative view on it. There's a select few who are interested and want to learn about it. And then you have like a handful of people who will be in your corner cheering you on.
Absolutely.
But a majority, like if you are just getting into the sport of bodybuilding, I guarantee you a majority of people in your life are going to like, they're not going to have a good view on it.
And I think... But, like, it's so fun, though, because, and, like, that's what makes it fun to me, is because I think I've seen so many people's mindset towards it, or, like, attitude towards it shift, like, the more they learn about it, or the more they, like, listen to me talk about it. And that's what's been really fun for me, too, about, like, just sharing my experience with bodybuilding in general, especially in the Midwest, where it's not very prevalent. Like, all of my family members are, like, they just have this idea of it that, like, I'm starving myself, and I'm, like, and granted, like, yes, prep is very unhealthy, like, it's not sustainable year-round or whatever, like, we all know that, but, like, I mean, eating fast food 5 days a week isn't healthy either, so, like, it's just, they're different. It's just completely different, like, ideas and lifestyles, but I forgot where I was going with that. Something about opinions on bodybuilding. Just basically lack of knowledge. And I think it's been, like, super cool the more people have seen my transformation, like, my family members, like, that see me throughout this year, because Okay, so think about that. In the year that I've been doing it, I've gone through every holiday,
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So I've shown up to all of my family picnics, every holiday get together, and like I've looked different every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And so people like start to ask questions, and they become like, you can tell that they're becoming like more and more intrigued with it.
Yeah.
And not like negatively, like they just genuinely like want to know more. And that, I think that's my favorite part, is that like I love seeing people like slowly start to show interest in something that they never cared about.
Yeah.
Or that was like never in their like realm of like thoughts. And it's cool too because it shows that they care. Like I love when people are asking me questions genuinely because they care, and when it's coming from like a good space in their heart, I guess. So that's been really fun, just like witnessing that like transform, and just again like being that person that like I think we've talked to people that never really had any plans of competing, didn't want to compete, didn't know where to start, and I think they've like slowly been more open to the idea of it, watching you come here and like train people, or watching my journey unfold, or whatever it is. But I think just like putting bodybuilding on the map in like the Midwest is like something that's kind of cool. Not that it's not big, like it's obviously still
very small compared to some of the other places, for sure.
So that's been really, really fun for me, and I think that's what I'm like most excited about for Saturday, is like seeing all of my people like come there for me regardless of like their opinion or like lack of knowledge or care. Like
I'm excited for that too, because it's your first show too that you've ever been to, and you're competing in it, and your friends and family are coming, and it's their first time going to a show. I'll be there, and it's probably like my 100th show that I've been to, so it'll be cool to see all of you from both sides of the stage, how people are going to react. And I can probably pinpoint the people who are going to, the ones who are going to be excited, and I can also probably pinpoint the few that'll kind of
not love it.
For sure.
Yeah. In regardless though, like of how people feel about it or whatever, like I think it's just so cool knowing that people are like taking a whole day to travel to go watch me compete in something that they don't give a mug about. Like, so it's really cool. It says a lot. It says a lot about the people in my corner.
Well, it says a lot about you too. You spent a year dedicated to this, and they've seen you, fully dedicate yourself to it, and still able to do the other things too. And I think, and we touched on this before, a common misconception is if you're in prep or if you're a bodybuilder, you can't do like the normal stuff like holidays and visit family and do all this stuff, when in reality, obviously you can. You've been 100% on your plan the entire time, minus the one night you ate almond butter. But we won't talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
But you can still do all the things, and you don't have to isolate yourself. I think the problem occurs from people having a bad relationship with food, so they can't put themselves in those situations where they're sitting in front of a turkey platter or mashed potatoes or whatever. So I think that's a common misconception, and I think another common misconception that you've experienced is they see you cut down and they see you lean out, they think that you're starving yourself, when in reality, you're more than likely eating more food than those people who are telling you you're too skinny.
Right. Yeah. I think that's probably like the one thing that I've heard the most is like, you're getting too skinny. Like, Katy, you're getting too skinny. And it's because I'm like a big girl usually. Like, not big. Like, that's dramatic. But, is that thunder?
Yeah.
I'm just generally like, I like to be muscular. I like to be like, not like big, but you know what I mean, just like thicker. I always have been, so this is by far the smallest I've ever been. And obviously people are saying that because I went from straight out of pregnancy to like what I am now. So I'm like very opposite ends of the spectrum, so if I would have went to like from my normal walking around weight to this, it probably would have seemed less drastic. But I went from being postpartum to this, so it is obviously
Yeah, you basically went from being 80 pounds over your normal weight to dropping that and then going lower.
Yeah. Yeah, 30 pounds or
30 pounds under your normal weight,
yeah.
So basically like 110 pounds.
Yikes. That's actually,
you were like 400 pounds.
Is that math right?
No, that's definitely not right.
Okay,
There's
I was
no
like,
way
wait.
You were ever 200 pounds.
What?
There's no way you were ever 200 pounds when you were pregnant. Moving on.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that because I was.
So, we'll finish up soon because you need rest because it's your peak week and you're a few days out. But I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to ask you, what are 3 things that you think came out good for you in your prep, and 3 things that you learned in a negative way in your prep?
3 positive things that I've learned throughout my prep. I don't even know that I can, like, I've learned so much about myself in prep and just, like, things that I'm capable of. I don't like being put on the spot.
So start with 1. 1 positive thing.
Just, like, of what I've learned, like, literally in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 positive thing that I've learned in general is I think you're always more capable than you think you are of doing whatever that thing is. I think for me, like, had I really known, like, what was all going to go into prep, like, if I would have looked at, like, the bigger picture and just, like, if I would have thought too much about it, I probably would have psyched myself out and talked myself out of it. But for me, I was like, I'm just going to commit to it and, like, take it day by day, week by week, and, like, focus on that rather than focusing on something that, like, I don't know anything about, right? So that seems very, like, I don't know, vague. But what I mean by that is, like, I didn't really know, like, what all was going to go into bodybuilding in terms of, like, how time consuming it really was, how much money it really was. That, like, there are so many, like, little things that, like, end up, like, kind of just coming up as you go that you don't really know about or you can't expect or really anything. Like, there's just so many different, like, variables. And when I was approached about wanting to start prepping or whatever, like, I was approached by my coach and he wanted to bring me on and we figured it out. But had I have, like, known what it was gonna, like, all entail, I probably would have talked myself out of it because I would have been like, there's no way I'll ever have time for that. There's no way I'll ever have enough money for that or whatever. But I think the biggest, like, piece of advice that I can give in terms of that is, like, there's never going to be a good time for really anything.
Yep.
And you're always going to, like, if you want it to work, you can make it work. Regardless of, like, how much you think you can't or how much you think you won't. You really have to, like, tell yourself you can and then, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I've gotten so many messages that people will say, and they mean it in a compliment, but they'll say, like, I would literally do anything to look like you, or I would literally do anything to have XYZ. Like, for some people, it's looking like me. For some people, it's doing whatever. I don't know. And when they say it, they mean it in a compliment, obviously. Like, oh, I would kill to have your core or whatever. I don't freaking know. But we all find ourselves, like, looking at people online or looking at other people and things, and they say, I would kill too. But, like, they have just as many hours in a day as I do.
Yeah.
They have just as many resources as I do. So for me, it's like, what are you really willing to sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like, I don't, there's nothing special about me. Like, if anything, I'm way more busy than the average human. So there's no reason that anybody can't do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think it honestly, like, and it's not that it bothers me, because, like, I love, like, it's nice getting messages like that from people, and they mean it out of, like, the goodness of their heart. They don't ever mean it in, like, a negative way, but, like, it hurts me because I'm like, but you can, though.
Yeah.
And I hate that there's people out there that think that they can't, because there's nothing I'm doing that everybody can't.
Yep.
So I think for me, just, like, the one thing that I've learned is that whatever you're telling yourself you can't do, you can. And it's just a headspace thing. Like, you just have to fix your mindset and just really lock in to whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
And for me, it just happened to be this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that goes back to, it's actually a Mel Robbins quote theory that she has, like the 5-second theory, where it's like you have 5 seconds to make a decision and do it. If you wait longer than 5 seconds, then you're not going to do it. So, like, if you're really thinking about doing a prep or getting healthy or getting abs, like, you have 5 seconds to decide if you're going to jump on it or not. So, like, when you're going back and when you were considering doing a prep, you could have looked at it and been like, well, the holidays are coming up. 20 minutes of cardio doesn't seem too bad, but, like, if you were to know all the variables, like you said, 20 minutes turns into 40 minutes, turns into 15,000 steps plus your 40 minutes. Plus you got to cook. Bodybuilding is an expensive hobby and or sport. But in reality, most hobbies can be expensive.
Yeah.
Hunting is expensive. Fishing can be expensive.
Yeah, I mean, and when I wasn't on a meal plan, like, I was probably spending more because I wasn't following a plan.
Yeah.
And I was probably going to Hy-Vee or whatever, like, daily, like,
Yeah.
all right, what am I going to take to work today to eat? And I would buy it, like, by the day almost. Like, shit's expensive. So, I mean, in the long run, I'm like, if I were to compare it, like, it probably isn't more expensive for me.
Because you still have to eat regardless.
Because, yeah, like, obviously you still have to eat food regardless. And for me, it honestly just, like, it's nicer because it's mindless for me. I just eat the same thing every single day. And I'm not somebody, a lot of people, like, complain about eating the same thing every single day. And that's hard for people to do. For me, it's not. Like, I'm just like, I don't give a shit what I'm eating as long as it's food and I'm hungry and whatever. Like, I'm not, like, I don't eat for satisfaction, really. I eat for fuel.
And I think a lot of people would be surprised if they were to give themselves a week, like 7 days straight of eating the same thing.
Yeah.
That the ability to eat the same thing over and over is drowned out by the fact that they're just craving sugar or fat. And if they were to just wipe that out for a week, they can recognize that, okay, this isn't bad. I'm fulfilled.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that was very much the case for me. And yes, I find myself, and obviously, like, now it's been a year, so, like, now it's getting, and I think the closer that I, like, was, like, getting or am getting to, like, being able to, like, take a bite of some, like, normal food, I think I, like, started to hyperfixate on that little bit, just because, like I said, like, in that entire year, like, mind you, I was supposed to have cheat meals in that year. I didn't know that, so I didn't. But that's besides the point. I overcommitted. I was overcommitted. But I think just, like, not having anything outside of my meal plan in a year is enough for me to just, like, start to, like, hyperfixate on things that I, like, normally wouldn't even crave. Like, I don't eat unhealthy. Before I started prep, like, I eat very clean. I didn't eat, like, sweets. But it's just, like, the idea of, like, getting close to the end that it's like, okay, these things are just, like, starting to sound really good, and, like, I want to have, like, a bite of
I mean,
something.
imagine a heroin addict that is like, okay, once Christmas rolls around, that night I can shoot up as much as I want. Like, no rules. I just got to make it to Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
As he or she gets closer to Christmas, like, yeah, their cravings are going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be hyper fixated on that night. So it's the same thing with food. Like, you can be I'm not saying you're addicted to food, but like, you can be addicted or hyper fixated like you are on post show munchies. But I think the fact that you spent a year with no cheat meal, I think you're comfortable enough to say, yeah, you're going to try these, you're going to have a few foods through the weekend after the show, but it won't be an issue for you to get back on the horse. And
no, I'm like, I know that I like deserve to eat like not clean food for a little bit, like, or for the weekend at least, but like I also, as everybody knows, like, I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. Like, I'm gonna allow myself to have that time because I truly did bust my ass for a year, and I like think I deserve that. But I also know I'm gonna feel like shit, so like I'm not gonna like, eating like shit makes me feel like shit, so I choose to eat clean for that reason. It's more of like a headspace thing for me, and like I just truly, yes, I like to eat good things every once in a while, but for me, I'm just gonna enjoy myself for the weekend, and then like you said, like it's not like I'm gonna want to just like eat like shit for weeks, because I'm not. I just I'm gonna be ready to like probably start building for something new in the next challenge, the next go around. But
because you're addicted to the competition, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to come out of the show and you already want to be ready for the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that. I'm not even to my show, and I can't tell you how many times I've even like said like, damn, I can't wait to like
build muscle,
start building.
Yeah,
like I'm already looking forward to building and growing and getting better for the next show, because I'm not an idiot. Like, I know that I'm gonna come out of this show with so many things to work on, and to kind of like go all the way back to like your very first question is like, what are you most nervous about? I think for me is like disappointing myself and people. I don't know why. Like, I've just like spent so long like building the hype for this like event, right? And like not even for like other people, but I've been sharing my journey for like a really long time, and it's kind of been like the focus of like my drive and my purpose and like what I've been like working towards.
Yeah. And
I have gotten like so many messages and like comments of people like, oh, you're gonna take the W for sure, like you're gonna come home with hardware, blah blah blah. Like, and I think yes, like it's cool for people to like want me to win, obviously, like that's cool
for sure,
but like, and pressure is a privilege, like it truly is.
Yeah, definitely.
But also like I don't know, like I think the pressure is also like kind of daunting to me a little bit. I like it, but also I'm like, what if I get up there and I like literally just drop the ball and everybody's like, I don't know, like it's not that it's for anybody but me, but I don't know, like for me, the expectations sometimes like being put on me are hard too. Yeah. Especially as like a content creator and with a following, and like so many people like wanting to watch, wanting to like see how the show goes, and not how do I like reach out to people and be like, yep, it sucked. So I don't know. And again, it's not about like the placement at the end of the day. I think for me, it's just being able to say I did it, and like especially with like every curveball that was thrown at me, and just being able to like, because looking back at my prep, like there's nothing I could have done differently in my prep. Like, if I were to change anything, like, maybe time management a little better at, like, the stages of my life but I couldn't help it at the time because, like, single mom, like, on the nights that I had to go, like, after my daughter went to bed, like, late nights or whatever, just, like, planning all of that out, but I didn't know what I didn't know. So I literally was just, like, rolling with it as I went and learning as I went. So that's nothing that I can even, like, change because it was so new to me, and there was literally, like, I was working out at whatever time I could make work because that's what I had to do. But I think I've learned so many things that, like, that I would do differently moving forward, but, like, that's just because I've learned, like, better ways to do it, but it doesn't mean I did anything wrong, you know? Like, I just have, over that year, learned to be more efficient and, like, kind of learned through trial and error kind of a thing. But I can, like, confidently look back at my prep and, like, I think some people would be able to say, like, oh, I really messed XYZ up or, like, whatever. But, I mean, if anything, I, like, did way more than I was supposed to, like, not knowing. I messed some things up, but then I ended up just doing more than I was supposed to, not less. But other than that, like, I think for me, like, that is really cool to be able to say that, like, I can't look back and think of, like, any time that I didn't, like, do what I was supposed to do or give 100% because I did. So that's very gratifying to me outside of anything that happens this past weekend or this coming weekend, regardless of, like, any placement or anything. I think just, like, all of that and just to, like, get the experience under my belt will be worth it for me, for sure.
Yeah, and to go back on the part that you're nervous about, you say you're nervous about disappointing all the people who are going and yourself too. But so one thing that I've noticed, the people that follow you, they follow you because you're just honest with your content. You don't throw up just the normal crap that people on Instagram throw up. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to be somebody that you're not. So I think that the honesty aspect with your content gets people to gravitate towards you. And I'm getting to a point here. What's one of your favorite movies or one of your favorite books? It's a question for you.
Favorite movie? Like Southpaw.
Southpaw?
Yeah.
Okay, so how does Southpaw end? How does that movie end?
I can't remember.
You can't remember how Southpaw ends?
You can't look at him.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick Harry Potter because I know how that ends. You should probably watch your favorite movie, Southpaw, so you remember how it ends.
I know. It's been so long since I've watched it.
Okay, so Harry Potter has so many movies and so many books. And it ends with, because you've never watched it or read it, I'm assuming.
I hate Harry Potter.
Harry Potter kills Voldemort. End of story. If that were the story, nobody would care about Harry Potter. Nobody would still be reading the books. They wouldn't be making TV series spin-offs. So my point is, and this is as cliche as I can get, no matter what happens this weekend, you're not going to disappoint anybody who shows up because they're not there to watch you on stage. They're there to continue watching your story. Mm-hmm. And whether you get first place or whether you get 10th place, they're going to keep watching your story afterwards too. Mm-hmm. So it's important that no matter what you place, you walk off the stage with your head up high, mm-hmm. and you don't necessarily know what you're going to be doing next, mm-hmm. but you're going to be confident in what you do next. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to disappoint anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know why that's a concern of mine. I think because at the end of the day, like, me just showing up is, like, way more than I thought I'd ever do. Like, me even being on stage. But I think it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, the more you do, the more you, like, want, right? So, for me, I was, like, I just really want to, like, do it for the experience and, like, really just, like, see how it goes. And now I'm already, like, what's the rest of the year look like for me? Like, what shows can we do? But again, it's just, like, me addicted and craving, like, that, like...
Yeah, that's the pressure of a competitive person.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to make you get better and better as long as you keep it with you.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, I think the pressure of just, like, knowing people are watching me and, like, waiting to see how I do and waiting for, like, the outcome is, like, scary for me, but I don't think that it's bad. I think, like I told you, I think it's a privilege that people, like, care enough to even, like, want to follow the journey to begin with. But it's just, like, a crazy concept to me.
That people are coming to watch you?
Yeah, that people, like, care enough to take time out of their lives to watch me. So, like, I just, like, feel obligated to, like, do well for that. But reason, I guess? I don't know. But...
Well, they are going to watch you because they're your family and friends and they love you. And, or, like I said, you're a genuine person who displays yourself and nothing outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And they're interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it'll be good. I'm excited.
Good. It will be good.
That was literally only one thing out of the three things that you wanted me to say. That's positive.
I think the one thing is perfect.
The one thing is, like, plenty. So I originally, because like I said, I've learned, like, so many things in terms of, like, things about myself, and I've learned so many positive, like, just things in general, along the way in the last year. But I didn't originally, like, when you said negative, I was like, shit, what am I going to say that's negative? Because I really, truly think that everything that I've learned thus far has been positive. But I will say the one negative thing that I don't love about myself or about the sport in general is my, like, tendencies of, like, comparing myself. As much as I know, I, like, preach to people not to compare to other people. And I preach to people that, like, comparison is the thief of joy. Like, it's so true in anything. Like, financials, money, or fun, that's the same thing. Financials, like, work, lifestyle, content, like, literally everything. I think people are constantly comparing themselves to other people, even if they're doing it, like, subconsciously. And I think for me, I've caught myself doing it way more being in the sport because, like, I know that I'm getting up next to people and I'm going to be competing next to other people, right? So I think for me, that's probably, like, the one negative thing that it's kind of, like, brought on to me, but I catch myself when I'm doing it, and I really do try to be, like, really mindful about where I'm at in the sport versus where other people are at in the sport, because that is one thing about bodybuilding is, like, you can't sit here and compare for me, my debut show to someone's pro show. Like, I catch myself looking at, like, freaking people on the Olympia stage, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. Why don't I look like that going into my show as a natural athlete for the first time ever competing?
I don't think you should compare yourself to anybody at any stage.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the point I'm getting across, is that you shouldn't compare yourself. I shouldn't compare myself. Nobody should compare themselves. But any competitor in the sport that says that they don't do it is lying. Like, they are. Because it's natural to go online and when you're on Instagram, look at other people's physiques. Like, it's part of the sport. Like, you're gonna do it whether you know it or not. And I don't know. So I think that's just one thing. But from, like, a positive side of that, like, I am fully aware of it. Like, it's not that I'm, like, I don't just sit around and, like, scroll on social media wondering why I don't look like other people. Like, that's not a thing. I think it's more of, like, it's more of an admiration thing, I think. Like, if I see other people, like, looking a certain way and I, like, admire that, I think it just, like, motivates me more. But it definitely can, like, psych you out a lot, too. Like, in terms of not feeling ready or not feeling good enough. And I think the closer I've gotten to my competition, that was something that like, I would, like, kind of tell myself, is I would see other people on their show days, or I would see, again, people that are on their 5th year of competing, and I would see their stage shots and be like, well, shit, I don't look like that. Like, I'm not ready. Like, should I even be doing this? Like, why am I doing this? So I think it's just, like, that kind of a thing. Is it starts to kind of, like, really change the way you think and look at other people. But, like I said, I've learned to really kind of take that with a grain of salt, because I know that everyone's journey is so much different, and someone's year 1 can't look like someone's year 10. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, like, can be a negative, can be positive. It's just, like, how you take it in. And I think some days I can look at somebody and be way more aware of it than other days. It's just, like, how you're feeling in the moment, too. But I would say that's really the only, like, negative thing, is just, like, getting hyper fixated on other people's journeys and not, like, focusing on myself sometimes. But again, it's something that, like, I definitely work on.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, it does no good for you, because regardless of what they are doing, what they look like, anything, as long as you're putting 100% into what you're doing,
right,
like, you should be happy with what you bring to the stage. What you walk off the stage with can sting sometimes if you don't win. But in reality, if you put 100% into your prep, and you make sure of it, there's nothing else that you could have done,
right,
to place any higher.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, is, like, everybody is asking me, like, are you ready? And I'm like, I mean, truly, like, yes, because I'm at this point, like, where there's nothing else I could do, and I, like, don't look back and think, oh, I could have done anything different. So that is, like, one thing nice to say about, like, the experience in general, is, like, there truly isn't anything that I would change. Like, obviously there's been a lot of moving pieces of the puzzle, and, like, a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of obstacles, obviously, but that's all part of it. So, and I think all of those things are kind of blessings in disguise, because they really, like, teach you a lot about who you're becoming, who you're meant to become, and it's all for the greater good, I suppose.
Yeah. All for the greater good.
It is all for the greater good.
Well, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. I don't even know how long it's been.
That wasn't short, I don't think.
Regardless, it's time for you to get ready for the weekend. So what we're going to do is we're going to document the weekend, edit a little video, and upload it for the next one. And by the time we upload it, you might already post what you placed, but regardless, that'll be in the video too. So.
Of this video?
No. The next one. No.
I was like, that's long.
No. But, guys, do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe and like and comment something nice.
Yeah.
Or not nice, I don't care.
Yeah, I guess I don't either.
Yeah, just give us engagement. It's okay. Give us a
thumbs
little
up,
poop emoji or something.
Literally anything.
Well, guys, thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time.